had this conversation today with my friend where she asked me, what happens to items I use for sacrifices? Do we give it to the dibia, and does the dibia just eat the loan? What happens to it? Do we share? Do we partake in this sacrificial process? Now, coincidentally, a friend of mine also went on her WhatsApp status to also rant, and she said, speak about the afterlife, and I usually ask if good food would be there. See, the rate at which some deities worldwide are obsessed with food offerings actually scare me. Like, don't you people eat there? Or fire, no they did there for you to roast your meat. Let's use our indigenous gods for instance. What they like to eat generally is what I'm obsessed with. For instance, roasted yam and oil. I mean, if they have to give humans something in return to these delicacies. She now went on to speak about to say these Latino people and some Asian people have festivals to date where they drop food for their gods and their goddesses with their dead family relatives. So if to say I'm from these countries, maybe I would have rushed, given birth and raised my own lineage, and they would give me better food or better cooking after I'm dead. You people don't, and she now said, you people who don't take food as important are not seeing the bigger picture. And I feel sorry for you all. Now, finally, she said, the only thing I've heard about Christianity or the Christian heaven is mansions and the singings of Hallelujah. But I don't know about you all, but I didn't hear any promises of good food. At least in Islam, men have sex to look forward to in their heaven. But what are you using 7 virgins to do? And I said, at least in some African culture, we bury the dead with food and money. In fact, I'm beginning to picture how my funeral would look like, and I must be prepared. So when I went through her status, and I'm like, wow, let me give a contribution about what happens to these items that we use for sacrifices. Now, Ichu is, in another word, is considered as a form of a communal sharing. Salaka. It's considered as a form of communal sharing. Now, those items that we use for sacrifices, especially when these sacrifices are done in a dibia's place, it is not just for the dibia to consume. It is for the dibia, you that performed the sacrifice, and a lot of other people that basically came to celebrate with you. So this is what sacrifice means to Igbo. It is not just the dibia or the shaman or the deity that all takes those sacrifice and eats them alone. No, we use the bloodletting process to offer a liquefied form of life to these beings, these cosmic beings, and give them some parts of these sacrifices. For instance, if you used a chicken for a sacrifice, the head, the legs, the heart, the liver belongs to the deity that you have offered, or to the being or the cosmic being that you have offered the sacrifice to, and the rest of the meat belongs to you. And for some people, after performing these sacrifices, they would package the animal that you used and give it to you to go home and cook or prepare for you and your family. Or in other cases, they can prepare those animals there and dish out a portion for you and share the rest to every person that is present during the offering of those sacrifices. Now, when we now talk about offering sacrifices to deities, what does it mean? It's not as if they physically or spiritually eat those things. Now, when we offer sacrifice, our belief system is that for you to get something from this spirit being or these cosmic beings, you have to give something in order to get something as well. Again, it's as simple as you are trying to send a person on an errand, and because you are the person that is sending this person on an errand, you are supposed to give that person something, gift that person something, and the person is supposed to now use those items to now basically energize him or herself, and basically use those things to embark on those message. Now, for instance, if you have an apprentice and you want an apprentice to travel to maybe Enugu and you live in Lagos, and you know that you are sending this apprentice with some sort of baggage or goods to deliver to somebody in Enugu, there is a need for you to also put some additional money with the apprentice, which the person could use to give people like the police officers or whatever they encounter on the road when they are trying to be when they're trying to delay your apprentice's movement. And as well, you're also going to give that person money to feed. So when I bring it down to Igbo cosmology, offering sacrifices to this deity is as simple as you giving something to these cosmic beings as a form of thanking them, or trying to use those things to hold them to some sort of an agreement. This is why we offer these sacrifices to them. But when we now talk about the material food, it is not us, it is not them, rather, that takes or consumes this material food. It is us, the living, that consume these material goods or these material foods. Now, again, the second group of people that these sacrifices are actually meant for are people that cannot provide for themselves, and children whose parents lack the capacity to basically feed them 3 square meals a day. So these places like these shrines or these Dibia's place where they offer these sacrifices, it is open for all. It is open for all to come and basically take and enjoy yourself and feed yourself. I've been in a place when I was offering the sacrifice and people came around. I was like, oh, thank you very much. This is the first time I'm eating since today. This is the first time I'm eating in 2 days' times. So when we give this food, it is not just for the Dibia. It is not even for the Dibia. This is why any Dibia that is worth his or her salt would not hoard those sacrificial items. They bring those items, they kill the animal, and they share it amongst everybody. They in the spirit of Salaka or communal sharing. So this is the essence. Now we now talk about the offering of food to the dead. Although we don't bury our dead with food and money in Igbo land, but we offer a cow to our late parents or our late parents. I need Jefi any our father or our mother. Now in our culture, if you don't do this thing for your parents, you don't have any right to do it for anybody. You don't have any right to contribute for cow when your group of friends are trying to contribute a cow for any occasion, be it wedding or funeral for any of their parents. You are not expected to do that because you have not done it for your parents. And secondly, even if your in-law dies or anybody that is close to you, you don't have any right to bury that person with a cow, except you've done that extra thing for your parents. Because in our cosmology, we believe that Madonna Maramba is no wepoba nilo. You have to, first of all, your beauty has to be inward before it could basically reflect to the world. So this is why. Now, what is the perception? What is the logical perception surrounding the offering of this cow to our late parents? We believe in the concept of God in a mother, God in a more, which means that whatever that we do here is physically replicated in the land of the dead. And again, we believe that we live in a land, in a time of parallels, which means that the physical world exists next to the spiritual world, but it's just divided by a thin layer that the spiritual world can basically see through the physical world, but the physical world cannot see through the spiritual world. This is the Igbo perception, this is the Igbo cosmology. And because we believe na Odinaani Odinaani, it means that because if we now look at the Igbo family unit, we see stages or aspects such as the Omenaani or the Umuada. And within that family level, when there is any ceremony, for instance, when a woman gets married, there is what we call a nwa-afo. As what we call a nwa-afo, that the husband's people are supposed to gift the family of the bride. Now that's a nwa-afo or a women. We have the one of women and we also have the one of umunna. It comes in 2 forms. Now once the marriage ceremony is done, then the very next day the family gathers together and they begin to share that animal. They will slaughter it and share it amongst themselves. They will leave it on a dry leaf and expect every family member to come and pick according to who is older than who. Now every family is called, and if maybe the head of the family the father of the family is no longer alive, then this privilege goes to the son, the first son, or maybe any of the available sons around to come and pick on behalf of the family. Now the same way we do this practice within the family unit is the same way we do things spiritually Now, spiritually, when it is time for these ancestors to, to share anything they want to share spiritually, those ancestors that were not buried with a cow and their children have not offered them that cow would not be called to partake in the sharing of that, whatever they are sharing. I say, ha ọ na nne gị na nna gị ejiro efi wee kwafa, fama nketa oke na ndị ichie, they cannot partake in anything that has been done within that family at the spiritual level, except you have given them that proper funeral rite that they are expected, that you should do for them as their own living descendants. And this is why, children are very much important to an African man. Because what it means here is that you have a living descendant to bury you and accord this regard, this respect to you, which would enable you to partake in whatever thing your ancestors on Ichu are sharing amongst themselves. It now allow you to take, and you have your own, you can stand for your right and take what belongs to you. Because if we now also look at what I've just explained to the Imuna situation, when you are around them and you see them trying to share this animal, this meat, there is a lot of thuzzles and buzzles. You see them, it is not your turn, I'm older than you, you're not supposed to do this. So there is this, everybody challenges, who are you, and all those, they raise their voice when they feel maltreated. But in the spiritual realm, because your ancestors were not given this respect, this thing that is due to them, they would not have the strength, they will not have the courage, or they will not even feel they have the right to challenge or to seek for what belongs to them, because you have not buried them, of giving them this proper ritual and proper rites. And you even make it worse when you've not done this particular traditional or funeral rite, but you're doing it for other members of, maybe not other members of the family, or maybe people that are outside of your lineage or your family, like your in-law or your friends. It is like a slap in their face, because we believe that you have to be beautiful inwards before your beauty can reflect outwards. So I hope I'm able to answer this question about what happens to sacrificial items that items or materials that we use to offer sacrifices. Those items are slaughtered, killed. The parts that are supposed to go to these deities, they go to these deities, and the rest is being shared amongst ourselves. This is the traditional Igbo way of doing things. And until next time, yeah guys, yeah.